At the time of filming this video, I'm 35 years old. If I were back in my 20s or even early 30s, this is the advice I would have given myself. Today, I've made over £100 million and built up a global property portfolio from scratch. But believe me, I've been through a lot in my life. From getting stabbed to nearly dying, getting attacked by the UK government, talked about in the Houses of Parliament. But all these hardships and situations have actually made me the man that I am today. So in this video, I'm not going to be holding back, and I'm going to be sharing some of the most valuable lessons that I've learned throughout my entire life. Key lesson 1, don't wait to get married. Men these days, and women, seem to think that putting off getting married is a smart thing. I'm gonna get rich first, I'm gonna become financially free first, then I'm gonna get married. As if being married is a full-time job that's actually gonna hold you back growing a business. It won't. If you marry the right person fast and young, they will help you blow up your business. My wife Amanda, we met just over 12 years ago. Within 3 months of meeting her for the first time, I asked her to marry me. And then within 6 months after that, we got married. And everyone said, but it's so fast. Don't you just want to focus on your business? Yeah, I do want to focus on my business and be married at the same time. In fact, Amanda helped me 1000x my business. There's a poisonous thinking in society that says, wait. I don't understand it. Wait until you get married, then wait until you have kids. Biologically, that's not smart either. We got married, she was 21, 22, I was 23. We had kids real fast as well. Now I've got 4 kids, and again, people say, I'm gonna wait till I have kids. I'm gonna wait till I have kids. You will never have a child and regret it. After we had 3 kids, people are like, do you really want a 4th? Yeah, I want a 4th. You're never ever gonna regret it. They are a blessing, they're an asset, and people say, oh, but they're really expensive. They're really not. I mean, the cost of having a kid, cost of baby food and nappies, it's negligible. And have more kids, because it's easier having 3 kids than 2, but it's easier having 4 than 3. Having kids will make you rich, because when you've got a family to protect and to provide for, actually gives you an extra incentive to want to grow the business. So when I meet young 22-year-old kids saying, oh yeah, I'm dating somebody and maybe I'll marry them one day, I will bully them to do it fast, because I think that that is the right way. And I think that that's best for them to get married and to have lots of children. Of course, the caveat to that is you need to marry the right person. But if you're with the right person, stop messing around and put a ring on it. Next, work-life balance doesn't exist. Anyone that tries to have work-life balance and says, I'm gonna work and then I'm gonna have balance and then I'm gonna have some me time. Have some me time. This whole mentality is poverty and it sucks. Let me explain. Having some me time and boxing that off for 30 minutes a day means that the whole rest of the day isn't you time. Having to rest from work means that you are not enjoying and well rested while you're working. You have to love and be obsessed with everything you're doing. I love working. I love buying deals, negotiating deals. I love making YouTube videos. For me, this isn't work. I don't finish this and then go, now I need to go and rest and have some me time. This is me time. My whole life is a oneness. My family, my friends, my relationships, my business. I'm obsessed. I don't box it off and try and balance my life. That is what poor people do that have no money, hate their job, and they are trying to balance their life. All of my rich friends, and certainly me personally, never ever try and have balance in our life. We just obsess over what we're doing and love what we're doing. I mean, I'll bring my kids to work with me. I'll teach them lessons. My wife will come out, we'll be doing business together. Being like, I need to be home for 6 because it's a chore and I need to spend time with the family is just terrible advice. You have to be obsessed. You have to be unreasonable. And if you are dating a woman who's telling you she wants you home for 6 and she doesn't want to have to travel and she doesn't want and wants you to have work-life balance, then I would say don't get married quick to that woman. Remove her quickly, find somebody else and marry quick. Which brings me on to my next point, which is remove any bad or negative people from your life. Run from negativity. You do not have to be loyal to somebody just because you grew up with them. I went to school with them, so I really should spend a bit of time with them. Why? Are they actually celebrating your life? Are they serving you? Are you building one another up? The Bible says that iron sharpens iron. If your friends are not sharpening you and you are not sharpening them and making them better and making them function better and making humanity better, then you probably should stop hanging around with them. The Bible also says that bad company corrupts good character. It is much easier to pull somebody down as it is to push somebody up. Pushing losers in your life up and trying to help everybody and being an agony aunt or agony uncle will just make you poor and you miserable. If you've got people that are toxic around your life, if you've got people that rather than saying, wow, you're starting a business, they say, oh, be careful. When you have a success, instead of being proud of you and clapping you and celebrating you, they say, oh, it's not that much of a big of a deal. You need to cut them off immediately. And even if you've got people in your own family that are like this, I would say there's some people that you can't spend too 2 hours with, maybe you can only spend 2 minutes with. So it's not about removing them from your life. It's about being intentional, deliberate, and massively limiting how much time you spend with people that are going to pull you down. This has been tested and proven. There was a study called the bad apple effect. And this study showed that when you randomly add a negative person to a group of 5 people, and by the way, of course, this was tested with multiple groups, the group with just one negative person did 40% worse on all of their tasks. And plus the quality of their work decreased by 25%. And the groups with just one negative person had conflicts within the group of more than 50% too. And the crazy thing is, these tests were done over just a 30 to 60 minute period. So they'd put a negative person in the group for just half an hour, and it would dramatically affect the results of the group. And you've had negative people in your life for years, for decades, and you're wondering why you're not successful, why you're not happy. I had a situation where I watched a movie and I thought it was a really good movie. And then a few years later, I suggested to my wife Amanda, I'm like, oh, we should watch this movie. We watched it, and she was like, oh, this is rubbish. And she was taking the mickey out of the movie. And it kind of skewed it for me. And I ended up thinking, oh, it is kind of a lousy movie actually, because she ruined the movie for me by talking negative about it. Now, imagine you've got someone that doesn't like life and just talks negative about life. Oh, life's rubbish. Oh, everything's rubbish, it's crap. That's gonna mess your life up, so run. Next, moving on to more finance now. Learn to not be paid per hour. Instead, be paid for the value that you provide. When you work a job, they will typically pay you for your time. So they'll say 40 hours a week, and we're going to pay you £40,000 per year. For example, you're being paid for your time. And most people think in terms of what's my hourly rate? What is my time worth? And they'll apply for jobs and they'll do things and they'll even have a business and they'll go and fit a kitchen and they'll charge a day rate. What I would suggest that you do is you do what all rich people do, is instead of thinking about trading your time for money, you think, actually, I'm going to charge for my value that I can bring. An example of this would be deal sourcing. So a deal sourcer, instead of getting paid an hourly rate, somebody that goes out and sources property deals and then sells those deals to investors. If the investor says, well, how long did it take you to find that deal? It's kind of irrelevant. This deal is worth £1 million. I've negotiated to buy it for £800,000. That's 200 grand off the price. And all I'm charging is £10,000. That's how you position yourself. Oh, wow, I'm paying 10,000 and I'm getting a £200,000 discount. That's a good deal. Now, it might have only taken you 3 hours to find and negotiate that deal. So you're getting paid over £3,000 per hour. And this freaks poor people out, because when I have clients and they want to learn about property and business from me, and I'll help them negotiate a deal, and then I'll pass them an investor and I'll be saying to them, right, here's how you sell it. They'll be like, oh, and they'll sabotage it because they say, oh, but it only took me a few hours. It doesn't matter. So you've got to really change your mindset around charging for your value as opposed to charging for your time. Next, I would say find somebody who's wealthy and spend time with them. Even if you're not spending time physically with them, even if you're spending time with them reading books, consuming free content, like you're watching this channel right now. Are you subscribed? I would say you probably should be, because I'm sharing everything I know. So subscribe to this channel. Not just this channel, there's other channels. You know what my favorite YouTube channel is? Maybe even more than this channel. My favorite YouTube channel, there's a channel which every week does a documentary about a successful person. And these are just ordinary people that are making a lot of money in property. Now, every single one of these people have one thing in common. They're all making a lot of money. They were all trained and mentored by me. And I've dedicated a whole separate channel to my clients. This is called Property Success Stories. Go and subscribe and see what they're doing. Be inspired. I've been doing this every single week now for years and years and years. I'll leave a link in the description. Subscribe and subscribe to this channel. Anyway, back to the video. Don't be afraid of debt. Instead, use debt to your advantage to get rich and to mitigate your taxes. See, most people work really hard for money and then they get clobbered with taxes, meanwhile trying to get out of debt or trying to pay down their debts. They'll have a mortgage and they'll save up and they'll pay off their mortgage bit by bit. At the end of their 35-year mortgage term, when they're 69 years old, they'll finally be debt-free, but they've had a miserable life. And now they're debt-free. Yep, they own a house, but they have retired and they've still got to pay for the house and run the bills and the heating. So what's the solution? The solution is you have to study good and bad debt. Use debt to buy assets. And these assets will not only pay for the service on the debt, but they will also, the assets will go up and inflation will bring the debt down. This is how you can mathematically play the system and get rich when you understand debt. I've done a whole separate video about this strategy called buy, borrow, die. And this is almost a secret that they try and keep from working class people. And I've done a whole video about this. If you want to watch that, then click the link in the description and check out that video. Next, don't just invest your money, learn to leverage your money. Leverage everything. This is the opposite of what people like Dave Ramsey says, but that's because Dave Ramsey is talking to people that don't understand money, and he assumes that they're financially illiterate. We've already talked about how not to be financially illiterate, to study the buy, borrow, die strategy. But when you invest, instead of investing in something like, for example, let's say I've got £50,000 to invest. If I put that £50,000 into stocks, that's my $50,000 in stocks. If the stock market doubles over a 10-year period, my money has doubled over 10 years. Great. If I put my £50,000 into a bank, I've lost probably almost half of my money because of inflation over 10 years. But what about if I invest in something like property? And this is why wealthy people love real estate. Well, if I invest £50,000 in property, I'm not going to buy a £50,000 house. I'm going to use that as a deposit, and I'm going to leverage a mortgage, the bank's money, to buy a house that's worth maybe $200,000, $300,000. So what does that mean? That means that over a 10-year period, the stock market might double, yes, and my £50,000 investment might now be 100. But if I buy real estate with my 50,000 as a deposit, but the property is worth 300, if that doubles, I've now got a £600,000 investment. I've made £300,000 with my 50,000, so I've 6 times my money. Whereas that same 50,000 that went into something that wasn't leveraged, like stocks, I've just 2 times my money. And that is how you can get so wealthy when you leverage your money. Next, society will tell you to buy your house, to buy your car, to buy things, to own things. But actually, what that's going to do is keep you poor, because poor people save up to own things that they can't really afford, which then depreciate in value. What I would highly recommend, and I wish I'd said this to myself 10 years ago, because I've lost millions not having this mindset. You should own your assets and lease your life. I'll give you an example. This house that I'm in right now is worth around 15, 20 million pounds. Now, if I was to buy this house, it wouldn't make any sense, would it? Because at some point I'm gonna die and I'm gonna not have this house anymore, right? Just bear with me. If I buy this house for 20 million pounds, how many more years am I gonna live? 50 more years maybe? 85 years old, that'd be a pretty good long life. So 50 more years of life in this house. How much is that costing me per year? I bought it for 20 million. Well, 20 million divided by 50 years, £400,000 per year. That's basically the same as renting it for £400,000 a year. I do rent this, but that means I get to keep my 20 million and invest it in stuff that's gonna make me a small fortune. So it doesn't make sense buying things that you're going to use for your everyday life. Lease everything. And then how do you afford to lease it? Well, you lease it with the money that you make from your assets. Because when you're trying to buy a house to live in, you get emotional. And when emotions are high, intelligence is low, and you end up in a bad deal. And the money that I saved by not buying this house and invested in properties, the rent from those properties that I'm making is not just covering this house, it's also covering my entire life. It's also paying for my rented luxury supercars. My whole life is rented. And poor people don't understand this. Poor people will say, oh, but you don't own it. Correct, I don't own it. My tenants pay for it on my investment properties that I own. Which brings me to my next point. You need to learn the tax secrets of the rich. And another reason you don't just buy things like, your house to live in and your car, because it's not tax deductible. But when you understand how to invest in property, commercial property, how to structure it, how to invest through a SaaS fund, it's tax write-off. I mean, imagine if I said to you, right, I'm gonna mentor you and all I want is half of your money forever. Would that be a good deal? Would it be a bad deal? What if I said, I'm not gonna mentor you? I'm just gonna give you a bit of moral support, but I want 50% of all your money. You'd say that's outrageous, 50% of all your money, that's robbery. Well, the government takes 50% of all your money, and you don't realize it. You might go, do they? I only pay 25% tax. No, you probably pay more than 50, because there's so many different taxes. I mean, you've got your council tax and your car tax and all these taxes that you pay when you buy stuff. You have sales tax, which you don't even realize. When you put petrol in your car, there's a tax that you don't realize. If you're getting paid a salary of £3,000, you might not even realize that, well, actually, it should be 3,500, but 500 is taxed a month. Pay away tax, national insurance tax. Then you buy a property and you pay stamp duty tax. Then you sell that property and you pay capital gains tax. Then you die and you have to pay 40% inheritance tax. So the government really have got most people by the jugulars, and they're just taking half of what they have, half of what they own, half of what they make. And wealthy people understand how to mitigate their taxes and how to set up their businesses and earn their money and structure it in such a way whereby they don't have to pay all these taxes. And the reason that they can do this is because wealthy people are the people that create the rules. So this will never change. People say, oh, well, why don't they just change the rules so that rich people can't do this? Because rich people write the rules. So unless you learn how to mitigate your taxes, you're going to end up having to work twice as hard. Imagine I work 40 hours a week, you work 80 hours a week, and we do the exact same thing, but we get paid the same. That's taxes. Most people never learn this stuff because life just passes them by, because they never stop to think. But if someone came into your house and said, I'm taking half your stuff, you'd go, whoa, 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 this is an emergency. Well, guess what? The government are taking half your stuff. And guess what? It is an emergency. You have to figure out how to protect yourself. I'm putting on a workshop, and it's about 90 minutes, and I'm breaking down how to make money, how to protect money, step by step, how to structure it. It's gonna blow your mind if you've never done this. If you're not already a multimillionaire, it's gonna blow your mind. And guess what? It's free. It's free. So if you wanna learn more detail about actually how to do this and how to not just make more, but also keep more, then click the link in the description. But I will say one thing, if you come on the training and then you end up restructuring things and being financially way more prosperous, please do a nice post and tell people that you did my training and it financially made you way richer. That's the way you can pay me. Even if you just do the free stuff and just at least give me a small credit, because this stuff has taken me 20 years and cost me millions of pounds of mistakes to learn. Now I'll give you these final 2 points of what I've learned over the last 20 years of business, and these are the most important 2. These have shaped my thinking and philosophy the most. So the first one is, all the bad things that happen to you are for a reason and will make you stronger, richer, more successful, more blessed. What the world meant for evil, God meant for good. This came out of the words of Joseph after his brothers sold him as a slave in Egypt, and he ended up being put in Egyptian prison for 14 years. He must have been pretty resentful to his brothers. He then came out of prison. Fast forward a few years, he was the Prince of Egypt. And then when his brothers came from Canaan because they needed to get food because they were hungry and they were suffering, but Egypt was prospering, they met the Prince of Egypt, that was Joseph. They said, please, could we have some wheat? Could we have some food? And he looked at them, and then they looked at him and they recognized him and they wept. And he said, what you meant for evil, God meant for good. And every time anything evil happens to me, I remember when I broke my leg and I was in hospital in Uganda and I was almost dying. I was in a really bad way, but that ended up actually bringing a lot of good. I ended up building a hospital. I wasn't in Uganda for that reason. I was in Uganda for something completely different, but God wanted me to see the needs of the hospital because he wanted me to build one. And sometimes when you hit the rocks, it's because you're meant to be a lighthouse. So anytime anything bad happens to you, anytime anyone stabs you in the back, a partner leaves you heartbroken and betrays you, good. It happened for a reason, and you might not know the reason today, but you will in time. And I think that kind of mentality, not only is it true and will serve you better, but I have personally firsthand seen this to be true, because every time I've had something amazing happen, every time my business has boomed, or anything, even when you have kids, man, when you have kids, the most amazing thing ever, but what has to come first? Well, childbirth. And is that pretty? It's absolutely not pretty. It's awful. And anytime something bad happens to you, it's because something good is coming. Final point I'm gonna make is this. If you're getting hate, people are hating on you online, I've had that. I've had the media attacking me, I've had trolls, I've had my fair share of haters over the years, and it's unjust. It can get you angry. You can be like, that's not fair. I used to do debates with the haters. I used to say, what are you talking about? Come and debate with me then. Tell me to my face, and get angry. Now I've realized that actually hatred is the tax that you must pay for being successful. Jesus said, the world hated me and it will hate you too. So how can you expect the world not to hate you? How can you expect not to have trolls, not to have haters, when Jesus literally said, if they hated me, they'll hate you too? If you're living your life on purpose, if you have a mission, if you're being successful, if you're changing the world, if you're escaping the matrix, if you're not being a slave to the government and are actually providing for your family and living how you should, you're gonna have jealous people, you're gonna have media attacks, you're gonna have competitors, you're just gonna have hate. And you need to remember, there ain't nothing wrong with you. That's just a tax for being successful and for living in your purpose. So if you've made it to the end of this video, congratulations. The chances are you're gonna be successful. You won't be here if there wasn't a reason why. I'd love to have you on the training, on the workshop. I'd love to see you win. I'd love to be part of your journey. I'd love to get to know you. So there's a QR code on the screen. If you're watching on the TV, you can scan the QR code. It will take you straight through to register your free place on the training with me. If you're on a phone or a laptop, click the link in the description. I can't wait to get to know you and help you build financial freedom through property. So click the link and I'll see you there.